Hey, can you hold the door?
Oh, sorry, you.
Thanks. What are you here for?
I'm here for the Professional Learning Network conference.
Me too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's really important to join PLN because it helps educators stay current on research and best practices.
Oh, here's our floor. Yeah, I totally agree. I learned a lot about this conference on Twitter, actually. Having these networks keeps me connected and in the loop on everything happening inside and outside of the classroom.
Oh my gosh, do you follow Joe Cisco on Twitter? That's actually how I heard about the conference. What a great guy.
For the next 5 minutes, the women on the elevator spoke about connecting educators, students, and parents from all over the world online.
Seeing current and relevant success stories and resources, i.e., reading about a lesson plan that took place on that specific day somewhere around the world, versus reading about teaching strategies from an article posted years ago. Another point is instant help and gratification from teachers currently in this ever-changing field.
The ability to collaborate and contribute to ongoing conversations, a collaboration as opposed to a one-way street, and becoming exposed to new ideas and best practices.
Wow, I'm so nervous being the first presenter at this conference. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Professional Learning Networks conference. My topic today is why students need globally connected teachers. So the first thing that I'd like you to do is just imagine for me. So imagine you're a fifth grade teacher who has recently noticed a lot of tension among the students in your classroom. After some observation, you suspect that there may be bullying involved, and you know that you need to address it. That night, you happen to be scrolling on Twitter and see that another teacher has shared a similar experience and described the steps they took to confront the situation. This teacher also shared a few resources that you think would be very relevant and applicable to your classroom. You then click on the hashtag that teacher used and find a whole thread of tweets from teachers around the world sharing their experiences with addressing bullying. Some have posted lesson plans, some have listed mistakes they've made, and some have posted projects they've done. You feel like you found gold. That night, you sort through it and choose and adapt what might work for your class. You learn from others' mistakes to help you inform your own teaching, and you have a plan for the next week. This plan is something you know you wouldn't have thought of completely on your own, so you feel grateful that others have put this information out there. Moving forward, you might share your own experiences and resources too. Why students need globally connected teachers. So they learn from shared experiences, knowledge, and resources. As we saw in that example, the teacher was able to learn from others' mistakes, others' experiences. They were exposed to current and relevant topics, information, and opportunities. They're encouraged to self-reflect. So they see other teachers self-reflecting online, and maybe they will too. They hear from new and diverse perspectives from all over and all different types of situations. And it creates opportunities for collaboration. They can message each other and talk about it. So when teachers continue to learn and grow, students are on the other end of it. Their education becomes enriched. When we improve our practice, it positively influences their learning and experiences. Now I'm opening the floor to questions. Questions, anyone?
I actually have a question. What should we say to teachers that don't have or want social media?
So as you know, PLNs are not exclusive to social media outlets. However, it is a big part of it. So my suggestion would be to ask them why not. And I mean truly reflect on why they don't want it. Then encourage them to do the research on PLNs and discover what they're actually all about. Once they do this, they can refer back to their reasons. My guess is that a lot of their original reasons are not what is actually required to build a PLN. So let's say they don't want social media because they don't want their information out there for everyone. They will learn that they do not have to use their real or full name. They don't have to post their own picture. They don't even have to post. They can just lurk. Let's say they think it's a waste of time to scroll on social media. With PLNs, they get to choose who they follow and what kind of content they want to see. If they are following people that are posting exclusively information about education, it's never a waste of time to work on your personal development. It is also not required that you're active all the time or go on it every day. Does anyone else have any questions?
I have a question. How do
Sure.
we know where to start?
So that's a great question. It will be different for everyone, but here's an idea. Since building a PLN can be overwhelming, start with one platform, let's say Instagram, and then next follow at least one educator or organization that you know. Look through their posts, their followers, their tags, etc., and find others to follow. Then take it day by day and grow from there. Thank you for attending my presentation. I'm so excited to hear yours.
Thanks, Sydney, for such a great presentation. And welcome everyone to my presentation. My name is Rawan Kmaiha, and I'm going to discuss how PLN can help educators brainstorm and fine-tune their ideas. As educators, we're constantly looking to create, fine-tune, and improve our students' learning experience. A great way to do that is by brainstorming and collaborating with a PLN. Being part of a personal learning network allows you to get connected with a wide range of educators with varying skills and experiences. With such a vast network of colleagues, you can ask for help anytime and you're guaranteed to get an abundance of assistance and suggestions from people who've been in your shoes before. So, knowing that there's a network of people you can collaborate with before or after an attempted lesson or activity can help alleviate some of the anxiety and pressures one might feel. Working in a bubble or with a limited number of colleagues does not allow for much growth as an educator, and you're also doing your students a disservice. Suppose you had an idea of a specific activity you wanted to incorporate into the classroom, but were not sure about how to go about it. With a PLN, you can tweet, Instagram, or Facebook post a question regarding your lesson, and you're guaranteed to be flooded with tips, tricks, suggestions based on other educators' experience. In this way, you're avoiding mistakes or obstacles that other teachers faced, and your students get the full benefit of your lesson. Sometimes you don't even have to ask the question. You might just be scrolling through your Twitter feed and get ideas from teachers who have freely shared their tips, tricks, and resources. That concludes my portion of the presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
I actually have a question. How do I build a PLN that I trust and feel comfortable collaborating with?
So that's a great question. And what I recommend is to start small and build your way up. You may be nervous sharing your ideas initially, but know we've all been there before, and we're all looking to help each other. I personally recommend signing up with the Twitter and follow educators that you know and trust initially, and then look to see who they're following. You can scroll through their feed to see how their ideas and past tweets align with your own goals. Eventually, you'll gain an understanding of how to navigate through the app to best accommodate your needs. You'll also get better at sharing your own ideas and getting feedback from others. So I have an example here actually. Teacher to Teacher is a great account to follow. It's one that I really trust and like to check into. It's good at sharing resources and starting conversations, and I always learn something new scrolling through their feed. So this is just an example that they posted randomly about a support cycle template, and I found it really helpful. I would incorporate something like this into my class if I was unsure of how to approach a specific situation that was occurring. Any other questions?
I have a question. How do I efficiently find help with questions or issues I'm having? It can get overwhelming scrolling through my feed and finding suggestions related to specific inquiry.
That's a great question. Thank you. And I think a great way to do this is by posting about your inquiry directly on your Twitter page. I also recommend using an @username if you know of an account that could directly help you. And definitely use hashtags. So a hashtag is a metadata tag that is prefaced by the hash symbol. Hashtags are used on microblogging and photo sharing services such as Twitter, Instagram, as a form of user-generated tagging that enables cross-referencing of content, so sharing a topic or theme. So here's an example of how you can brainstorm using hashtags and an @username tag. So the same account again, teacher to teacher. We can see in this example, the account is inquiring about elementary level books to help another educator update her library. So the teacher to teacher account may have a bigger following and thus a bigger reach, which may get a lot more responses. So we can see they've tagged the teacher that they're helping out, and they used related hashtags to get responses from a wide range of educators. And then on the other tweet side, we can see that there were educators who responded with their suggestions based on their experiences. Thank you, and that concludes my presentation for today.
Okay, awesome. So I will continue this conference, and I will be exploring our own interests, needs, and passions through professional learning networks. So as we know, it is so crucial that educators join and participate in professional learning networks in order to stay current on research and best practices, but it can also help motivate and encourage teachers to be their best selves, which then reflects positively on classroom environment as a whole. And so within a PLN, we are able to explore our own needs and passions by being in control of who we engage with. For example, if you had an English language learner in your class, you might want to follow @LarryPeladeau on Twitter. And I have a screenshot in case anyone wants to follow. You would find a PLN in his lists section for ESL, ELL, and ELT teachers across the world, where educators share valuable resources, articles, information, and real-life success stories. In this instance, your individual needs as an educator would be fulfilled because you do have an English language learner in your class, and you're able to kind of gain a new perspective and new resources to help you. This next example of a useful PLN benefits educators that are passionate about representation and current events. And so @BLM at School on Twitter posts an abundance of resources and real results from like-minded teachers that will facilitate your understanding of topics you're interested in bringing to the classroom. And these are just a few examples from one possible source, which is Twitter. But engaging with like-minded individuals and gaining knowledge and resource from them will definitely promote educator interest and motivation. And so just to conclude, when educators are interested in their material and when they create engaging and meaningful lessons, students respond positively and become engaged and interested themselves. And I believe that as a result, classroom management and student success can be achieved. And thank you. So now we'll be moving on to our Q&A section. Does anyone have any questions?
I actually have a question. What would you say to an educator that disagreed and said that we can explore our own interests and passions individually?
To that, I would say that you may learn something new with the help of other like-minded educators. If you're a new teacher, joining a PLN for the sake of exploring interests and passions is a great idea because there's so many experienced individuals that have their resources just waiting to be shared with you. And if you're an experienced teacher, you may learn a new strategy or a new way to connect your passions and your resources you've already used to the students of today's society. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Can you suggest a PLN on Facebook for me to join? I want to bring Indigenous resources into my classroom, but I don't know where to start.
Yeah, absolutely. One that I've found, I would recommend this public Facebook group. It's called Ontario Teachers of Indigenous Content. And it has 1.5 thousand members, I believe, and there are multiple postings a day. And it's awesome because it's very relevant to us as Ontario teachers. And you'll be able to easily find resources as well as publicly ask specific questions that you have to everyone in the group and get like immediate responses, sorry. And I believe that concludes our PLN conference.